We start tonight's program on a sad note as Nigeria is in a state of mourning. The burial of the 20 soldiers who unfortunately lost their lives in a plane crash near Chukuba village in Shiroro local government area of Niger State and others during confrontation with terrorists in the area, which was held today, Friday, August 25 at the National Cemetery in Abuja. The burial had in attendance the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru Abubakar, his Minister of State, Bello Matawale, senior military officers, and families of the deceased gallant soldiers. On behalf of the entire Media Trust family, we condole with the families left behind by these heroes and also with the entire nation. We pray that the Almighty grant their souls eternal rest. Amen. Viewers, this is Daily Politics and I'm your host, Hamza Idris. I have in the studio Mukhtar Suleiman, who we are going to have discussion. Today's show is dedicated to all the service personnel across Nigeria who put themselves in the line of fire and even pay the ultimate price, so the rest of us will know peace. And as I said earlier, I have Mukhtar Suleiman in the studio. Yes, Nigeria is a mourning mood. I don't know how to start, Mukhtar.
It's really sad and pathetic, really, because I recall when I got when I saw that news, it sounded as something that was a bit surreal. Yeah. But then when I was speaking to my friends that lives in Niger State, they were telling me that there was some altercation between some unknown gunmen.
Yeah, terrorists. We call them terrorists. Yes.
Now, yeah, between them and the military, and then the military got a call from Abuja for backup, and then they needed evacuation as well. So the plane was also going down there to pick up those soldiers who were caught in a sort of like a standoffish situation with these people. And then there's the rumor that the plane was shot down by the terrorists, and
which was an allegation,
which is still being investigated, if that was even possible. And then all of it just whatever it is that ensued in that place, it's something that we're hoping that the new Minister of Defense and the Minister of State himself for Defense would ensure that it never happens again. Because while some of us may have some reservation about the appointment of these people into that office, the appointment has already been made for whether we voted or not voted for the president. We've already entrusted the country to him as it stands, unless the court reverses that decision.
And you know, many Nigerians for a very long time, they have been saying it's not about being military personnel or not being military personnel to be Minister of Defense, because we've tried it, not once, not twice, that we have ministers of defense as military personnel, but what did we get as a result? Well,
the problem is we've played, why we are where we are today is because we've played a lot of politics with security.
Yes.
And that needs to change. Beyond the scope of whosoever the minister is, the politicking around that particular sector needs to actually reduce. I have an opinion that I don't think, say for a few ministries, which one of them is Ministry of Defense, of course, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Budget and Planning, the Minister of Justice. Say for those few ministries, all you have to be is a good administrator to actually lead any ministry.
You can superintend over.
But the Ministry of Defense is such a very sensitive place that we need to take a few steps back and look at the entire thing we've done since 2009, 2010, when at the heat of Boko Haram, and look at how everything has actually retrogressed through the years, and how can we do a complete overhaul Where is the problem? I've always said this: good policies, good politics. So even if the policies, for example, are okay, is there a problem with the politics angle of it?
Exactly.
So do we need to revisit those sectors? So these are very, very important.
Well, sir, you know, on the day of the incident, our reporter in Mina, Abubakar Akote, he called me and said that there was an incident. Some soldiers had been killed, and even an aircraft was brought down. I was devastated. He too was devastated, and we swung into action to see whether we'll, you know, put one and one to maybe we'll get two and all that. It was really tough for us. We managed to have this story, and it took like 4 or 5 days, you know. Then there was a briefing by the military to now say yes, the helicopter or the fighter jet that crashed, you know, evacuated some injured and some dead bodies. Now, when it crashed, even the pilot and Katanamba, you know, they all lost their lives. We'll be missing our gallant soldiers in Nigeria.
You know, for the longest time, since this insecurity have actually bedeviled the country, we've not really given the military adequate coverage that it deserves. Because sad as it may sound, this is one of many things that actually happened to our gallant soldiers on the forefront of these particular insecurity issues. So if the media and if the military itself can allow for such coverage, there will be a lot of sympathies from the public, from the general public, and then there will be further understanding of these issues and how it has actually been happening over the years.
Yeah, you see, I reported the military very well.
Yes,
during my days in Maiduguri, at the height of the Boko Haram, where we normally have problems with secrecy.
Exactly.
Of information from the relevant quarters. You find it very difficult to get
information.
Yes, and you see, it's really bad. It's terrible to report deaths, you know. But what do? If locals call and say that this has happened, what do? You have no this thing. You have to, of course, our ethics demands that you hear from authorities.
Of course.
But sometimes they don't really comfort with what's happening. And anyway, they too, sometimes they say they need to get in contact with the families of the deceased so that they will not just read the death of their loved ones in the media. But going by the revolution in the media and environment, you know, everything, you know, flies before you know. So we in the legacy media are really finding it very tough to report. Of course, we have to report. But it's very sad for a wife or a mother or father or even brother to read, hear or see the death of his loved one in the media. You
know, back in the day, joining the military was such a thing of pride. People vie for it. People want, wearing that uniform came with this sort of reverence. But these days, people are...
The morale was high.
Yeah, people are now scared of it even now. Nobody wants to... No, it's no longer envious anymore. People now empathize with you if you're in the military, as opposed to being proud of you if you're in the military. So unlike before, where the sight of the uniform gives this level of... There's this aura that comes with it. It's no longer the situation now, because when you look at the person, you feel like, this one will soon go die.
Yes.
Or something. And it is the part where the soldiers themselves, or we ourselves, we don't see it as if Nigeria as a country does anything for us individually.
Okay, so to warrant sacrificing our lives.
That ultimate sacrifice. So it looks like Nigeria just wants to keep, it's a gift that keeps taking, but never wants to give. So it's very difficult to elicit patriotism at this point. So patriotism is more or less like a song you cannot sing.
And the little or the few who now agree to give their life for some of us, when they die, that will be the beginning or the continuation of the suffering of their...
Especially of the families. Yeah. Because then pension becomes a problem, paying them their gratuity, paying the family their gratuity or their severance packages becomes a problem as well. These people worked, and then unfortunately, unfortunately, a select politician embezzles this money and then they go scot-free by some godforsaken plea deal or plea agreement that they actually come up with. It's really pathetic, really. And I really think, like I said, I don't envy the president. I don't envy the people who have been appointed into public office right now, because as it stands right now, there's a lot of work to be done across the different sectors of the economy, of the country, of the polity, and khair, inshallah.
Do you know that we did a library work some months back here, at the Daily Trust, to say, okay, soldiers that have been killed. This is just based on, reportage, because you can't get
the actual number.
Yeah, but our librarian, Haruna, he was meticulous. He
Content
kept it
analysis.
exactly. So we had the figure. It was frightening, and we collected it from the library. We worked on it. We spoke to experts and all that. At the end of the day, when our, superiors read this story, we were asked to drop this story in the interim. I say in the interim because a very good story, but of course we wanted to pass a message, and everyone agrees that we should pass message. But if that, assuming we use this story, it will affect quite a number of
the morale of the soldiers.
Yes, but you're talking about morale, and you are talking about being open and being fair, because there are some, if not of recent, of course, with all sense of modesty, the military, they are trying now trying to quickly
pass
the information to the families before. I'm telling you, it will take months for a wife to know that her
husband is dead.
Yes. I have a friend, a reporter, in fact, in Maiduguri, who was Timothy. I just have to say it. He reports for the Sun newspaper. His brother was killed, and for a very long time they were not aware. And you know how they got to know it? When, I think, I may be wrong because I can't recollect the exact.
Precisely.
Yeah, but it was through a video, I think released by the terrorists or something like that. So you can imagine the level of devastation that, I know because I was with him then, the whole family.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad, and we're hoping that, honestly, we really hope that things actually change and things get better as we move on. The likes of Badaru pride himself in saying that he did so well. There was no case of insecurity in Jigawa, although that's open for a lot of debates.
Yeah.
But we want to track the history of how that happened from the time of Sule Lamido. But let's not go into that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'm still awestruck by Matawale being there as Minister of Defense, owing to what ensued inside of Zamfara State, which Zamfara was an open secret.
Yes.
The entirety of everything that happened.
And honestly, we'll allow Nigerians to talk today.
Of course we would.
Yeah, of course. Because today is Friday, and as you know, it is your day. So call the numbers that will be displayed on your screen to share your thoughts on the deaths of our heroes, other Nigerians that are being killed by non-state actors, and how we will all coalesce into a big force to save Nigeria for all of us. Also, endeavor to keep your responses short so others can contribute, and avoid using foul language. Let's start the conversation. The phone line is open. Over to you. Yes, Mukhtar. So beyond this, life must continue, right?
Yeah.
Soldiers will die, individuals, as I said, even communities, we try here to keep tab, because we have reporters in every state in Nigeria. Now we have more than one in many places because of our TV platform and other platforms. So we have our hands on ground, reporting what is happening, and we keep record because we have our library, not because we want to keep piling up deaths, and all that, but to hold leaders to account. Yeah, but welfare of soldiers is also a very big problem. You see, in the barracks, or even in police barracks, or wherever, you know, our services, you know, when someone is dead, before 1 or 2 weeks, you see some people eyeing the house or the room the family of the deceased occupies. We have our first caller, yeah. Yusuf from Lugbe, welcome to the program, Yusuf.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity for me to speak.
All right, go ahead,
My
Yusuf.
name is Yusuf. I'm coming from Lugbe in Airport Road.
All right.
The death of our servicemen, sincerely, it is very, very touching, very, very devastating, very, very unfortunate. Each time these things happen, I felt so much bad. But what can we do? That is what they have signed for. But we can go forward to support them, to pray for them, to assist them, to assist their family, to ensure that the family of those deceased get better lives, so that those that are serving will see them being taken care of, so that they can do best, their best also. Secondly, I thank Trust TV for not sharing the news in a way that it will bring down the morale of other soldiers and the rest. That's a good media work. We have to manage some information. It's not every information that should go raw the way they are. So exactly. For you to have managed the information the way you did, sincerely, we appreciate you. Right. And we pray that stations will work the way you are working, so that people will not be agitated. People must die. Soldiers must die on the front line. It is unfortunate, but that is what they signed for. They do that to keep us safe. So when they die, we should respect their death. Even in death, we should honor them. We should respect them. That's my take, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your condolences, and we appreciate your contribution, Yusuf.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yusuf from Lugbe, you see, he said we should empathize. Nigerians should empathize. It's not just the responsibility of the services, that, okay, the army, the air force, or the military in general, that they should be solely responsible for the welfare of families of the deceased. In other climes, I think there are a lot of ways that families of our unsung heroes, we can call them unsung heroes, because most of these military, you only got to know their names, you know, when they die, if they are lucky.
That's the sad part.
Yeah.
And I really wish that we could do something to immortalize our military. Like, you go to, if you study US military to some extent, there's this like call it a Hall of Fame thing where names are written.
Yeah.
So at least you do not forget, remember their names. If they die on the field, remember their names. So these are also very important, because
the epitaph of...
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be an epitaph. It can be a very big board where names can just be written, even if it's in small
Yeah,
bits.
I think they did that at Memalari Barracks in Maiduguri. If you go to Memalari Barracks, the graveyard where they bury both Muslims and Christians, servicemen, at the entrance, you know, a very good building there, and they put the names. The first day I entered, I lost my emotions. It's just reading names like this.
Well, I think it gives some sort of, well, not a face, but it allows you to humanize those people. It's why I said earlier at the beginning that if the media and the military itself allows for this kind of access, where the media can cover what is really going on in the military at the forefront, Nigerians can empathize more with the soldiers, and then we will not dehumanize the soldiers anymore. We'll get to see them as human beings, as individual entities.
Okay, we have our second caller in the person of Chinonso from Niger State, Bida. Yeah, Chinonso, welcome to the program.
Thanks.
All right, go ahead.
My name is Chinonso. I'm calling from Bida, the city of the Niger State, Nigeria.
Yes.
You see, my condolence goes to the Nigerian Army and to Nigeria in particular, Niger State, where I'm coming from, Zongeru, Nishishi, and Kotongora, where this Shiroro, where this thing happened. Now, this is a wake-up call for our government, that we should not wait until they attack this so-called worst enemies of Nigeria attack us. Let's take the fight to them. It's always this future. I fear that our military are being ambushed. I used to ask myself, where are the two cannons? Where are all these weapons that the former president bought? Why can't we take the fight to them? Let's take the fight to these people. Attack them in their camps. And let's degrade them forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chinoso. Yes, Mukhtar. He said we should be proactive. Why should we allow our soldiers to be ambushed? I don't want to call name, but that is one of these humanitarian agencies. You know, when I was reporting from Maiduguri, you see them in their vehicles traveling. And I had the opportunity to talk to one of their senior officials, and he said they have, is it radar or whatever they call it, you know, in those vehicles that they can see a radius of like 100 kilometers from the vehicles.
You know, I've always said that Nigeria is not short of competence; it's just nonchalance, and it's so disgusting how this nonchalance have actually cost us way too much more. We have a National Intelligence Agency, we have the NSA, the Office of the NSA,
National Security Advisor,
military personnel.
We have even the military intelligence agency, we have army intelligence agency, they all have an intelligence arm. Even the police, the civil defense.
We have a plethora of this, and we still find it really, really difficult for us to actually find a lasting solution to actually these menace that we've been suffering for over a decade now. Over 1 decade we've been suffering this issue.
Over 1 decade,
Yes, and we've not been able to find I remember that, if you remember the very first time we spoke, some years ago, I was doing a content analysis on Daily Trust coverage. Yes, of Boko Haram incidents. And you did
content analysis?
Yes, for 3 years, for 2013 to 2016.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken. No, we later made it 6 years, from 2009 to 2016. And I remember that when we did that analysis, content analysis, we got over 2,000 cases that were reported on Daily Trust alone. You will expatiate on this. And his bow.
You have Eze from Benue State. Eze, welcome to the program, and what are your thoughts?
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Eze.
Thank you. Well, what is happening in our country is quite unfortunate. The military and even those that are going to rescue them, it's their death on their way. It's quite unfortunate, but we have to learn, because all these things is as a result of inability of our leaders to do the right thing that they're supposed to do. And this started with electoral system. Politicians should stop using the military, the police, and all these things during the election. I think those people, they need to do, because if we want to get all these things right, it has to start from the foundation. If the country is bad, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for police, it's bad for ordinary man in the streets, it's bad for market people in the market. And all these things is as a result of the country is not working well. Otherwise, okay, those bandits, they are claiming that they are the one that slain, and military is saying that it is not true. Who knows the one that is true? But what is happening is quite unfortunate, and we need to stand up on time, because if we do something urgent, so many things will go wrong. Many.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Eze. You see, my tech point from what he said is we should stop using our military for elections. And maybe to expand what he's saying, that we should stop exposing them. When I was young, growing up in Jos, there was this military barracks along Dogonduse Road, in the heart of Jos. That was military barracks there. But when houses began to sprung, around the barracks, I don't know, maybe it was by accident or by whatever. The whole military operatives there were evacuated to Rukuba. You know, they were taken very far. What am I trying to say? It was only young men, I mean young boys like us then, you know, when we see one soldier or two, if they come to town maybe to do one or two things, we'll be following them. So just.
It looks really,
but
really
the elderly, you see them
move away.
moving, yes.
That's what I said. There was a reverence for the military at the time, but that's gone now. But I don't think it's about familiarity, really.
Okay.
I think it has more to do with optics and presentation. Because the thing is, the reason why it was easier back then was there was less population. So it was easier for them to hide.
Okay.
At the time, it was easier for them to be scarce.
Okay.
I could tell you for a fact, I could say for a fact that then, when you were in Jos, you knew little to nothing happening in Delta State.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's, of course, the world is expanding.
Yeah.
So it has, despite that, you see, take for example, look at the U.S. military, for example. They still command that respect sometimes. Well, I can't speak to, but from the way it's optics. At the end of the day, most of it is optics.
Let's take our next caller. We lost him earlier. Adams from Kogi State. Welcome to the program, Adams.
It's Badams, not Adams. Thank you. Good evening, sir.
All right, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, my heartfelt condolences to the family of the Ghana soldiers. The soldiers, our soldiers should be encouraged.
Okay.
By the government. Like in Islam, if anybody dies like a martyr, let's have that program that will encourage our soldiers so that this country can be protected by them. And we have this confidence in the 10th Assembly that they are really doing some good job.
Okay.
The man sitting down there with you, please, I'm pleading with him that you should send a bill to the House to encourage our soldiers. I know they're going to do something about it.
All right.
And to the individual Nigerians, we should start saying something when you see anything, because around the vicinity of where these soldiers were, ambushed, people that are living around this area, speak out when you see anything to help ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for your contribution. You said we should see our gallant soldiers as martyrs, and beyond giving them the name martyrs, we should also support their families. Maybe there should be houses for the families. Once a soldier, lost his life, the families should be entitled to at least 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, so that when they are moved out, I don't want to say when they are flushed out of the barracks, yes, but when they are moved out of the barracks, they will have somewhere that the children will be able to be going to school and then go back.
Well, I think that's what severance packages are supposed to be for. But because we don't do it properly in this part of the world, it becomes really difficult to implement. Really. But
why is it difficult to implement? Is it that we don't punish people? We don't punish offenders?
I was sitting with, I'm not going to mention his name because I'm sure he's not going to appreciate it. I was sitting with a mentor some weeks ago, and then he said, he used to be in the public service. He was a DG of one of the agencies. And he said he never knew that people could be wicked.
People could be wicked.
Until he joined public service. Like, somebody could wake up in the morning and just be a wicked person. It was when he joined
once he joined the public service. Okay, we have another caller, Aminu from Gombe. Welcome to the program, Aminu. Hello, Aminu? It's like we lost him. Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, yes, Aminu.
Hello. Yes, how are you, Yusuf?
Fine.
How's daily politics?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, yeah, what is your take? What is your contribution,
Yes, first of all, I would like to encourage our ex-servicemen for the job well done they are doing. Secondly, the issue of the welfare of their families.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
For instance, I lost my junior brother in the northeast, Meduguri specifically, some 3 years ago. But up to now, there's what is called group life insurance. That group life insurance, more than 10 badges have not gotten their own. So the family should be encouraged by getting their that life insurance. Thank you very much.
All right. We hope authorities are here. Thank you very much, Aminu. You see, he lost his brother in Maiduguri 3 years ago, the group life insurance. Why should it take, we have said we have digitalized everything, right? Why will it take 3 years for a family? In fact, they have not yet accessed the group insurance, apart from other things.
I think one of the things that could have made this whole process a bit more humane would have been hearing the the defense minister reading out the names of these soldiers one after the other on television. Because it's so easy for us to dehumanize concepts that are abstract. So if we could actually give them a name and put their faces around so that we know that soldiers are not a uniform. Yes. Soldiers are, a soldier is, or a military officer is somebody's brother, is somebody's sister, somebody's daughter, somebody's son, somebody's husband, or somebody's wife,
father. Yeah,
somebody's father is a human being.
Yeah,
and when one fall, 25 is a lot. We think we just say this is 25 generations.
I'm telling you.
25 families. Each of those soldiers, let's put on an average that they have maybe just one wife and one child. Do you know how many? It's really
huge. Yeah.
And so we need to actually look at the crux of these things when they happen, how they happen, and what ensues in the back door. What really went wrong in this situation, just so that it does not repeat itself. But because we're so quick to move on from these kind of circumstances that we forget that consequences should actually come in most of the time.
All right, we have an ex-serviceman in the person of Umar Adamu from Kano. Welcome, Umar.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Umar.
I'm happy to have you at this moment.
Thank you very much. What is your contribution, Umar?
My contribution is very interesting on the topic that you are giving on that the welfare service of the S-men. Really, of course, personnel, particularly these armed forces, they are suffering. They are suffering. Their welfare is not well observed. So please, I'm calling the authority to do something in order to. I'm calling the authority to do something pertaining their welfare, please.
All right, Umar. All right.
Particularly this one, the family are suffering. Even those who are serving, they are suffering. So let the government look into the problem. Thank you very much for your contribution, and thank you very much for your services.
Thank you very much, Umar. You see, he said even those that are alive, he's an ex-service man, and he said he's suffering. He said many of his contemporaries are suffering. And he went ahead to say even those that are serving are suffering. Where are we going to, Mukhtar?
Well, if you look at the salary scales of even our service officers, not just even service officers, look at the public service as a whole. Those who get the lion's share, so to speak, are political appointees in terms of salary and payment.
Yes.
But those people that are in the system, when we say the system has a problem, it is those people that keep the engine rolling, the civil servants, the active civil servants, the active
and the politicians, the big politicians who control the resources.
Yeah. Before you even talk about the politicians who control the resources, we're talking about the people who, soldier go, soldier come. Those ones that will remain. Those ones that we call the barrack. So we need to ensure that those people are well taken care of, that they have the best systems of.
All right, yes. Aliyu from Suleja is now on the line. Good evening, Aliyu, and what are your contributions?
Good evening, Mr. Anza.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Mukhtar.
Good evening.
Yes, Aliyu. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I really sympathize with the soldiers and the officers that lost their lives during the attack in Niger State by State. I didn't share the notion that it is all the entire military that are not taken care of in terms of welfare. I think that the officers are being well taken care of, only that the junior cadres that are not being well taken care of in terms of their welfare. And that is why the citizens should come up, and even the civil society organizations to come up to ensure that the junior officers are being taken good care of, because they are the ones that do the most job. But the officers are being taken care of well. So the junior officers' welfare is already poor. And that is where the problem lies.
Yes,
so we encourage the government to do more, most especially the new government, to ensure that the welfare of junior officers are being well taken care of, just as welfare of many Nigerians are not being taken good to take care of.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Aliyu. Yeah, Mukhtar, you have heard, from his voice, very passionate about his call for attention to the, junior officers. He said it is only the senior ones that are being taken care of. The juniors who actually do the fighting, who sleep in the bushes, who confront the non-state actors, sometimes they don't even have quality food to eat. They put their lives on the line. So who will fight for them? Is it you and me?
The military is a very sensitive area.
Yes.
Where you think you understand what's going on there until you're in there. So it's not really something that you say. I think the best we can do is what we're doing.
Okay, advocacy.
And it's what they allow to a large extent, because there's very little of cajoling you can do. There's very little of politicking you can do in the military. The military has a very, very tight, knitted system. So the people who can actually enforce any kind of changes are the political appointees who go there at the end of the day to see whatever it is they can influence in terms of policies, in terms of resource, dragging down resources into the military. So now, again, going back, the responsibilities that the new minister and minister of state have is to ensure that these soldiers have some level of encouragement. The same thing with the NSA currently.
Yeah.
So the NSA has to, through the service chiefs, find a way to encourage these soldiers to keep doing the good fight that they're doing. I remember that I met a military man in Delta State when I was serving some years ago, and he was telling me about what ensued. He was actually deployed to Maiduguri, and he was telling me the kind of horrors that actually ensued when they were at the height of Boko Haram.
Earlier you made mention that you did content analysis or reportage, and very damning, right?
It's really, I still have that data on my laptop, really, because we couldn't use some of it at the time, but it is really, really heartbreaking when you read these stories, because for me, reading the stories, I was not there, but I was reading the stories and trying to content analyze. I could imagine the mindset of the person who was writing the story. I could imagine the actors whose name were in the story.
We're still paying a price. Personally, I'm still paying a price for those reports.
Whose name
we had log books. Then, okay, I will tell you the story after we answer Mustafa from Kubwa. Yeah. Yes. Mustafa, welcome to the program. Yes.
My brother, how are you?
Fine, Mustafa. Yes.
I'm watching your presentation. So apt.
Thank you.
So apt and daring.
Thank you, Mustafa. Yes.
It's unfortunate. We lost our gallant troops. But I think we must appreciate the dynamics of this crisis.
Yeah.
This crisis, if you look at it, you will appreciate that it's mostly an imported crisis.
Yeah. How do you mean? Yes. How do you mean, Mustafa? Yeah.
Yeah.
Imported. You said it is imported. Yeah.
Yeah, there is foreign colonization to the crisis.
Okay.
Thank God you are able to cover the maybe Boko Haram crisis.
Yeah.
You will know that there is correlation. There is foreign correlation attached to this crisis.
Honestly, I agree with
in Maiduguri. I was when you landed in the Maiduguri International Airport, you think you are in France or England. You will imagine what are these foreign people doing in that corridor of. So we must appreciate the dynamics of this crisis. Mostly they are imported. I'm not feeling too happy castigating our military.
Okay.
We should not cast aspersion on them. They are doing their best. They are doing their best. What we need to do is to show solidarity and empathy.
All right. Thank you very much, Mustafa. Yes, a lot of questions, on activities of NGOs and all that. Yeah, of course, I covered the Boko Haram, as he rightly said, and you too know. Those days, you have the influx of that, and even among the fighting forces, you know, quite a lot of things that maybe people will read in our memo and all that. It's really sad. But while reporting, there was time I brought out my logbook. You know, those days when you report, you now write it, you know, you write, because at the end of the month, you have to send what
you've collected.
Yeah, you collected at the end of the month. That will be used as your KPI and all that. Honestly, there was a day at the end of the month when I opened the logbook after going through, you know, the nature, I started crying. Yeah, because over 50 stories. I still have the book, over 50 stories, but from those stories, not more than 5 or 6 were about development, were about health, everything about death, casualty, you know, of the military, of the police, of prison officials, of traditional rulers, of Nigerians.
It's sad. I remember that in 2020, when I was still with the Islamic Education Trust, we're doing some training for journalists on covering violent extremisms. Now, we all know that when you talk about violent extremism in this part of the country, it's mostly the Islamic religion.
Yeah.
So we're trying to teach them how to notice false fatwas, or how to also decipher on their own, so that they could actually have that. We call that training Sharia intelligence at the time. And I remember that there was a time that when we're doing this training, one of the editors from one of the top newspapers in the country said, it was so pathetic when there was a time where he was collating stories that happened in his local community in Maiduguri there. And he noticed that there was a story that one of his reporters did not cover. Because it was already public news. So he called the reporter, why didn't you cover that particular news? And the reporter said, Oga, now only 4 people die now.
Only 4. Can you see how we reduce deaths to this? Okay, but let's talk to Abdurrahman from Katsina. It's very painful, and I will also share an experience with you. Yes, Abdurrahman, welcome to the program.
Good evening, Mr. Hamza.
Yes. Good evening, Abdurrahman. Yeah, thank you. What are your thoughts?
A wonderful job there.
Thank you.
I want to contribute with regards to the topic you are discussing.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, the Nigerian military, there are a lot of things to be done if we want to achieve what we want to achieve. You see, even in terms of recruitment, I can be assured that most of the people that have the desire to go into the army, the military force, you understand, are not the ones that are recruited into the force. You understand? There are people that are willing to sacrifice their lives, you understand, but they are not given the opportunity to do so. Most of those that are recruited, you see that there are people from the political class, or wealthy family, or those that have connections. You understand? Because here in Katsina, we have young able men that are willing and capable, you understand, to be part of the work, to be part of the quest. But unfortunately, they are not given the opportunity. So I think the military should do something about that.
All right.
You guys should be blessed.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Abdurrahman. Yeah, recruitment process. Yes, you're talking about numbers. You know, I keep saying this, you know, on this platform, that it's really sad that we've reduced lives to numbers.
To numbers.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad and pathetic.
So you told me only 4.
But you know, the funny thing was not in the only 4. It was the accumulated experiences that have actually made that person to say only 4 people. So it wasn't really as much as saying that he didn't really intend to say it that way, but he expected his editor to understand it that way, because at this point we were talking about 50 people dying, 100 people dying to be news. At some point, 50 people, 100 people dying during insecurity is no longer news. Now you're looking at 200 people dying. So it's how we've normalized. It's how we've normalized this, as if it's like the boots and the ants. So even if there's no provocation, so unless a certain number of people die, we do not see it as news.
So I hope both our reader, I mean our viewers and you in the studio, let's concentrate and see how can we take our military back to the barracks, so that we now strengthen other operatives like the police, whose sole responsibility is civil authority, right?
Yes.
What should we do? And it's not that we want police to now take over so that they will be killed. I'm talking about how can we sanitize the environment? How can we sanitize Nigeria? Almost all the 6 geopolitical zones have issues.
Yes.
How do we term this? We have a new government, new sheriff in town,
Again.
we have a new National Assembly, we have new service chiefs, a lot of appointments are being made. How can we work together?
Again, it is not lack of competence, it is not incompetence, it is nonchalance. And the fact that we've actually paid politics a lot with insecurity in this country have made it deteriorate to the extent that it is now. So I'm hoping, really hoping that with the new coming of the new sheriff in town and his sub-sheriffs, deputies rather, if I may say so, would put a stop to most of these things. Because you look at the southeast, you see the ESN. You look at the the southwest, you see the Yoruba agitators. You look at the north,
south militants.
Yeah, south. You look at the militants. You look at the
northeast Boko Haram.
Northeast
Boko Haram. Central banditry.
Bandits. Northwest, the same
farmers
had clash in North Central, and then the northeast is
the whole country is permeated with one.
It's really sad. And we know that the government have been fighting Boko Haram. Is this what they are transitioning into? Usually if you look at the northern part of the country. So how well can we actually solve that problem? Because I know that Nigeria, if Nigeria wants to find you, it can. So what is holding Nigeria back?
So if Nigeria wants to find you, it can.
Let's count back some years.
All right. Nigeria can get you. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, let me plead with you to hold your breath. We have another caller in the person of Gideon from Gombe. Welcome to the program, Gideon. And what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, Gideon, go ahead. Welcome.
I just want to contribute on the program they are just discussing.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. I just want to commend the military, our military.
Oh, good.
They are doing a job well done. But the truth of the matter is that they are not being good taken care of.
Yeah, welfare.
A military personnel will die. After they send them from the barracks, they will have nowhere to go if he has not done something for himself.
Oh, sad.
So I want to at least ask the government to please take care of the military, because they are the people that are defending this country.
All right.
So we want the government to do more about it, especially the military part.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Gideon. You know, Gideon shared same thoughts with Aliyu from Suleja, Aminu from Gombe also, and even Adams from Kogi. They are talking about let's have something for them so that when they die, their children, their wives, and will have somewhere to stay. Their education should be guaranteed. Their health should be guaranteed. And this should be your concluding thoughts, Mukhtar.
I think I do subscribe to what they're thinking and what they're saying, because at the end of the day, you want to make it so glamorous to the extent that people won't look forward to dying. In the manner of speaking, and especially in that sector where death is such an ordinary thing, so to speak. You need to be able to reassure them that even in death, we remember you, we know you, and you do that from how you take care of those people who already died, the families of those people who already died. When they see that, they know that, okay, at least when I'm gone,
they will continue to give their best.
Yes, so they'll continue to give their best to know that, oh, even if I die in line of duty, good things are going to come to my family, and everything else will be taken care of.
And Abdurrahman from Kazana spoke on recruitment. The recruitment process is very faulty. Quite a number of Nigerians who want to join the military, they don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, but that's at senior officer level most of the time when you look at it. At the recruitment, at the corporate level now, low-level recruitment, it's a bit of an open street at this point, because there are less and less people actually applying to join the military at this point. So we're hoping that things can change eventually.
All right. Thank you very much, Mukhtar Suleiman, for coming to the program and for your informed perspective. And our condolences to the families.
One more thing before we go. There was a point I wanted to make earlier when I said if Nigeria, I'll be very fast.
Yes.
When I said if Nigeria wants to find you, it can get you. If you remember some years ago, after the Evans was captured, the kidnapper, when there was a altercation between the Nigerian police and the military, where they said some soldiers attacked them and freed Evans.
Yes.
It took the Nigerian police less than a week to find all of those people involved in that case and arrest Evans again.
So let's all be responsible.
If Nigeria wants to catch you, it can.
Thank you very much. This is actually a big soundbite. Yeah. And viewers, that's a wrap on today's package. We sincerely hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics Live, airing every weekday, and also our special package on Friday, during which we open our telephone line for you to comment on national issues. News Hour is up next at top of the hour. We once again extend our condolences to Nigerians, families of the deceased, and to those who wanted to make comment on this program but were unable to due to time constraint. Once again, we thank you for watching. Bye-bye. I'm Hamza Idris.